Cape Town. It's not an exciting ghost story, but it was weird enough for us to notice that something rather odd had just happened. 3 weeks ago I was on holiday with my family. Gran, sister, her fiancé, my niece, brother, a friend and myself. My granny had booked us into this lovely resort in Blueberg, Cape Town, situated 5 minutes away from the beach. It was heavenly. We arrived at night and everything was okay. Nothing out of the ordinary, but I did feel something in our unit. A different presence. Everyone laughed it off, of course, calling me paranoid because I have the unfortunate luck of always having an experience wherever we go. I've stopped sharing most of the things I experience, dream or feel because no one takes me seriously, but this one excites me because my sister and our friend saw it happen as well. The night we arrived, our friend linked up with her holiday boyfriend and only came back the following morning at around 10 a.m. It was a Saturday and my gran was making breakfast for everyone. I was lying on the couch, having passed out in the lounge the night before. My sister had just taken a shower and was standing across my gran close to the back door. Our friend walked in and, feeling embarrassed because everyone was already up, stood next to my sister as my gran asked her where she had slept last night. When she walked in she closed the door but not completely shut, and as she was explaining the door slowly swung open and then slowly swung itself shut, like someone had pushed it open, walked in and closed it again. I still feel it was someone walking out, not in. I don't know why, it's just a feeling I got. The way it swung open then slowly closed was definitely not because of a draft or breeze. My sister and our friend both froze and stared at each other, then turned to me. All I could do was slowly nod. My gran, who had been looking down into her pot, noticed our silence and turned around. She must have seen from the look on our faces that something had happened, but we chose not to say anything, mainly because we didn't know how to even begin explaining. The funny part is my brother just sat up and nonchalantly said, "It was a ghost." I only ever felt the presence in the kitchen and lounge. It was an open plan set up. My next encounter with whomever it was 3 days later. Again I was sleeping on the couch and I heard someone busy in the kitchen. Waking up from sleep, I assumed it was my gran preparing breakfast, but as I lay there fully awake and too scared to open my eyes, I realized I could hear my gran moving around in her bedroom. Whoever was in the kitchen gave off elderly woman energy. I just got an image in my mind of a short, medium-sized old lady with gray hair. Nothing scary or threatening, but I was taken aback by her, I guess. I think she realized I was now awake because I felt her turn, look at me and disappear out the kitchen door. A few minutes later I heard my gran exit her bedroom and walk into the kitchen. I asked her if she had been in the kitchen a few minutes ago, and she not only assured me that she had not, but that everyone else was still fast asleep. Needless to say, that was the last time I slept in the lounge. Like I said, I didn't feel anything negative, but I just can't seem to get used to these encounters. Not exciting, but it's what I experienced whilst vacating in Cape Town beginning of Jan. The Luftwaffe pilot. This happened during the Cold War in West Berlin, at a military installation which was built in the 1930s as a German air training school. I knew nothing about the haunting when I was there on a short tour of duty. Every time I descended the main stone staircase, I felt I was being watched, and that someone wanted to get my attention. This feeling increased until I felt shoved, and had to grasp the banisters to stop from falling. I'm not particularly psychic, despite having Celtic ancestry. Any subliminal visual impressions usually hit me like a rewound movie, just before I fall asleep. This time I was on the stairs, and behind me, looking over the parapet, was a tall blond man in a dusty grayish uniform. The look of anguish in his face just horrified me. I did my best to ignore the impressions and the dreams, and soon was left with only a hideous depression. Fortunately, the visit was only a week, and I wasn't reminded of it until some years later when an army acquaintance, who'd also stayed at West Berlin, was talking about the ghost. It seems that during the Allied advance in April 1945, the fighting around the local woods was fierce. Eventually, the USAF bombed the place, and at least one Luftwaffe pilot, trapped in the basement air raid shelter, was killed, but it was impossible to get any bodies out. There are loads of undiscovered human remains in Berlin. My friend was describing the ghost, and I was able to finish the description. He has been seen, heard and felt for many years. Like so many lost souls, he wants to be recognized, Have his bones buried properly, usually, as in this case, impossible.